if you're feeling friction in your marketing and the things that you're trying just don't feel like they're feeling natural to you, it probably comes down to your personality type and trying to do something that's more in line with the things that bring you life and kind of light you up on a daily basis.
It's another episode of Marketing with Matt. We're here with Matt Deseno, and we're going to learn about something that I think is really powerful regarding where you should put your energy depending on the type of person you are in business or entrepreneurship.
Yeah, this is something that it felt like too long to learn. But as you're growing up, if you're building a business or just starting to try to market your business, anytime you're trying to grow something, you'll typically have this experience, at least I did, where some things I would do them and I felt it was so easy and it worked really well. It's like, God, this is incredible. And then some things I would try and do it and it either like I couldn't get myself to do it to completion. I couldn't actually fully enact the action. And it just felt like sandpaper every time I'd like try to go towards it. There's just so much internal resistance to whatever that activity was. And it just is acknowledging that there's different personality types, which is a given that there's different personality types. But I think I've heard it really well that there's different entrepreneurial personality types. And so under the category of you're an entrepreneur, you are out there, you're an innovator, you like to solve problems by building a business. In that zone, there's a few different options or a few different like just personality types. You can be successful and be very different in the type of business builder or entrepreneur that you are. And so I got to present this to a group of our folks at an event we were doing, and I thought it'd be a great topic for the show. And so the first entrepreneurial personality type, and I got to give credit to, I think I heard this first in maybe different language, but it was from Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins, and maybe he's evolved it from other folks as well, but I think it's good. He calls it the artist. I like that language. So the artist personality type for an entrepreneur, this is a person who loves their craft. They just genuinely love the thing that they're doing. If you're a marketer, you love marketing. You geek out on this stuff. Someone might think that I'm an artist. I'm not. I'm definitely not an artist. But it's like, if your favorite form of even selling is demonstrating, watch me do what I do, right? So you see this a lot in other creative spaces, but in social media now, there's people who can successfully sell, and all they do is they show themselves painting, right? They're a painter and like, watch me do my painting process. And they get folks that watch them. They love the passion, the skill behind it. And they say, hey, can I commission a painting with you, whatever it might be. And so but this can play out in other areas, right? Like this is, if you're the restaurateur, like you love the menu, you love the food, you love making and building that, or whatever it is. If you're the pet, the dog groomer, you love the dogs, like you love making them feel healthy and happy. And so whatever it might be. And so the artist loves the craft of whatever is behind what's being done for the business. And so if you're an artist, the types of marketing that are going to be the easiest for you to do, as I already hinted at one of them, it's the show and tell. This is actually, it's less tell, it's more show. It's just show someone doing it, right? And so this is in presentations, there's like this service provider presentation where the objective of the presentation isn't actually to teach people how you do what you do. It is just, it's weird to say, but it's kind of to overwhelm them. It's just like show them all of the amazing things that you can do. And just by showing them under the guise of like, let me show you how I do what I do, you don't have to be a great teacher, but they will be so impressed and slightly daunted by the craft that you're demonstrating that they will want to buy from you. And so a like show and tell, more so on the show side than tell. If you're an artist, this is a great way to sell. Just to be loud about demonstrating what you do. This is where you've seen great folks from like a YouTube or a social content. If they're an artist personality type for their entrepreneurial personality type, they'll just demonstrate what they're doing. They're usually really good at documenting. If you're an artist, or if you've acknowledged this with yourself, but I see a lot of great documenters, they'll show like, this is me doing my craft. This is me in the action. They'll usually, be a little bit more inclined or easier for them to just post what they're doing, because that's what they geek out on, is what they're doing, the actual craft and art of their business. And so whatever it might be. The second entrepreneurial type I kind of covered, I called it a commander. And so I thought of this like an army commander. And I think this is, maybe I'm no experience with military whatsoever, but my observation from other folks is they, in kind of like those roles and in that function, they get really good at organizations, right? You think of like the military is a phenomenal enterprise, not because of a specific innovation, not because of a specific talent, but actually of their ability to deploy people in mass. And so the idea of this commander personality type, this entrepreneur personality type, is you love the systems and the people. It's like people and process are what really light you up. And so you might think, I may care not as much about what we're doing, but I love how we're doing it, right? I love how we can organize, how we can unify, how we can achieve incredible results together collectively, being more efficient in it, being more strategic in it. And so, see this with folks and entrepreneurs who will move into a space that's largely uninnovated, and they just love taking a antiquated space or an industry and being like, man, what if we could just make it better with systems, with people, with process? How can we really overhaul this? And so they're usually a little bit more like a manager, like they're naturally inclined to be great managers, overseeing the system, holding people to KPIs, knowing like numbers and outputs and that sort of thing. And this is where, from like a marketing activity for someone who's like a commander personality type, you're like, man, it feels super hard for me to show what I'm doing. I don't like to show people what we do. But on the system side of it, us liking this and this works really well. I actually think an activity that could work like a good scalable activity is anything that has predictable throughput. And so this is where strategic partnerships, I've seen managers, people like, commanders, that personality type, they do really well at this. Not mysterious partnerships. Hear me. It's like strategic partnerships. Like you have a predictable vehicle for getting leads or whatever it is and nurturing those leads into customers. But they will be really good at putting together like this machine and then just making sure they got a new person every week. For us and our team, like I have folks on our team that are this like commander personality type or commander entrepreneurial personality type. And every single week they're looking for who are new strategic partners we can do. They didn't necessarily innovate the system. Like there's creative we do. Like we've got graphic designers and copywriters that built the whole kind of like machine of, what do we give to potential partners? What does our design look like? What does the offer look like? They're not necessarily part of the offer, the design, all of that piece of it, but they will make sure that people are running all of their plays. Like we've got the playbook set out and they geek out and are great at that kind of marketing. We're like, okay, who's the new strategic partnership this week or a few that we're going after? Awesome. Okay, graphic designers, are we doing the things we need to do? Awesome. Do we get that done? Yes. Run the checklist. So I find strategic partnerships tend to be a little bit easier. The other thing I'd actually say is paid media is this isn't always the case, but if you've got kind of like lead magnet marketing is what I'd say. So lead magnet marketing leans a little bit easier for this kind of a entrepreneurial personality type because there's a little bit less volatility when it goes to lead magnet marketing. And so what I mean is it's a freebie giveaway. If you've got a top of your funnel, consideration where you can predictably get leads and then put them into the process of nurturing them, a commander personality type will love managing the people that are, running the media, making sure that's going, like managing the leads. Are they going? Are they receiving the emails? Are we looking at what's the open rate on the emails? Do they click? Do they do this sort of thing? Because they're just sort of managing the numbers, managing the system behind it. And you put them in this place. They're not typically high risk takers, but this feels less risky, right? Because you've got a known system and it's a low barrier, right? If you're trying to run paid media that's supposed to be a short turnaround from, an opt-in to a sale, the manager can kind of stress out about that because they're like, oh gosh, 1 second it's great, 1 second it's horrible. If you're lowering the step of commitment, so it's just like a freebie opt-in there, and they're kind of managing like, is their volume going into the machine? Is the machine continuing to turn? They typically find a lot of satisfaction in that. And for you, if you're identifying this for yourself, man, I'm a manager and I've been trying to do quick sales related activities and it's stressing me out or feels like it's friction, like I'm a commander personality type. I think what I'd encourage you to do is find a lead magnet, find some sort of no cost opt-in and focus on that for your marketing efforts. And you'll be surprised just by being like top of mind and allowing someone to experience value from you before they pay you anything, you will start to see more sales happen. So that's the second personality type. And the third personality type is like, I call it Skydiver. So we got the artist, loves the craft. We've got the commander, loves organizing, managing the people in the process. And then you got the skydiver who just loves the risk. They literally just love the risk. They live for that arbitrage opportunity. And so for a skydiver, I do think paid media is where they are most inclined. They're usually more willing to take higher risk, higher reward. And so the risk of like paid media is usually first on their bucket list. It can be volatile at first, but what they'll probably quickly realize is a quick story I heard a couple of years ago. I was listening to Frank Kern on a podcast, and someone asked him, "What are your biggest regrets in your entrepreneurial journey?" And he said two things that hit me. One is he said I was too short-sighted with how I judged paid media campaigns. I would look at something and I'd say like, I'm deciding winners on like, looking at last month, who are my winners, who are my losers, and I shut off my losers. So it's like I was too short-sighted. I turned those off. And the second was I spent too little on paid media. So it was kind of around the same thing where for that skydiver personality type, if you can just take this as wisdom that I've inherited from other greats in the business world and in the marketing entrepreneurship world, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, you will look back at today and say, why didn't I spend more? You just will. And if you can bear the risk of a little bit longer time horizon to recuperating whatever those costs are, or you have it's a little bit easier for you to say, I win or I learn. And I use that to propel me to innovate on a daily, weekly basis. I think paid media is going to be something that feels more inclined with you. But I think it's the other surprising thing. If you know you're a risk taker, go risk in that way. Really, like you're the skydiver. Skydive. It's interesting in business because the ground, if we relate to skydiving, like the point of no return where you've made a mistake keeps on extending for entrepreneurship, which is an interesting thing, right? Like you don't lose until you quit. You don't lose until you quit. And so that's what I found for my story is I'm definitely the skydiver personality type. I'm someone who I realized for myself, I just love the risk of the game, the arbitrage opportunities there. And if I can keep on telling myself, I will quit tomorrow, not today. Today I'm going to keep trying, but tomorrow maybe I'll quit. You keep on elongating the time, your ability to innovate, your ability to keep on testing, and the ability to just have enough experience so that it becomes deep-seated knowledge and truth in your soul that we win or we learn every single day. And so if you're feeling friction in your marketing and the things that you're trying just don't feel like they're feeling natural to you, it probably comes down to your personality type and trying to do something that's more in line with the things that bring you life and kind of light you up on a daily basis.
I love that. And I think it's super important that people know it's okay to lean into the things that are aligned with your personality. You're going to get more momentum and more leverage that way. So if you're looking to get more momentum and margin in your life and business, please do us a favor, take a screenshot of what you're listening to and share it on social media and tag Matt Deseno.